Everyone's on this side. All right, welcome everyone. We'll keep it small and fairly informal. I should get rid of some of the seats. Could even pull this forward a bit and make it even a bit more cozy and homely. Because what I've learnt about these meetup groups is whether we have 2 people or 20, those that come benefit. Okay, those that don't make the effort to get here, like you said, it's free, but those that don't make the effort, they miss out. Okay, so you're here to get some information, but so that I know where to steer the conversation and where to steer my presentation. Can you tell me what you're here for? What was it about this topic that got you thinking? So you, Sharon.
Alrighty, so I was just curious what you would be presenting on actually, because I think there's often a hook, and your hook seems to be the abs that a lot of people want, and I don't necessarily expect to get abs. Although, I mean, I could do some work in that area, but I think you had something about...
welcome back. I remember you.
Yeah.
Can you sign in just once again,
please?
Thanks.
So like motivation and mindset.
Mindset, and that's where we're going to begin. So tonight, even though we're talking about the body, the physical body, underneath or beneath everything that I teach is empowerment, and it's mindset. So mindset is the belief that you can do it. If you don't believe you can, you can't. What is that old saying? Whether you believe you can or believe you can't, you're right. Keith, why are you here?
Yeah, I'm just curious as well. It's more about learning about how to use the mind to control energy.
Yeah.
Much about energy
Very good. So you're looking at energy. Okay. No worries. No one's here for abs yet. What about you, Chris?
Don't forget the abs.
Teach me to walk like a child again.
So what brings you out? What are you here to learn about? What would be a good thing for you to take away?
Just general health and nutrition.
Okay.
Health and well-being.
You know why I say we'll be looking at that? Because if you're going to get abs, it's going to require dedication and effort. And in dedication and effort also comes in diet. It's a very essential component. Okay, a lot of people think that crunches are going to get them abs. Absolutely not. Crunches will help build the abdominal muscles, but you won't see them unless you drop the body fat. Okay, so unless you get yourself in a good fit condition. Okay, by eating good food, especially as you age, it gets even more critical that you eat well. Leanne?
Yeah, just eating well and, just feeding off your motivation to get fit and, get past the blocks that I have sometimes to exercise. And
okay. Now, it's interesting that you say that, the blocks to exercise.
Yeah.
And it comes back to mindset that Sharon was talking about, that we have unconscious programming that's going on in our brain. We were programmed. Hello, welcome. Could you please sign in?
Yeah.
Will you come and join us? We have unconscious programming set up from when we were children. Between the ages of 0 to 7, psychologists call that the imprint period. Now that imprint period is such a crucial time. They actually say that we learn 80% of everything we'll ever know during that period. And you go, wow, that's a lot. It is a lot. But what they're saying is because you're learning everything for the first time, you're seeing red and blue and yellow and green. You're seeing the colours for the first time. You're seeing faces and people and how to identify things. And there's so many things that we're exposed to in that age. And your brain's like a sponge. You've heard that before, that expression? Your brain's like a sponge when we're young. And it soaks up the information rapidly. As we get older, change becomes more difficult. So if your parents exercised and did, looking fantastic, and that was part of your lifestyle growing up, then it's very easy to do. If your parents weren't, at some point you've got to make that change. You've got to make that. That's if you want to have, a great body. It's if you want to have health, energy, vitality. Okay, it's not just about looking good. And I was waiting for someone to say, I want to be significant. I want everyone to see my abs and think, wow, he's awesome.
They show you abs.
You can see through the shirt. No, it's not. I'm not here about significance. I'm not here to be. Actually, I was driven by significance a while back. I've done some repatterning in my own brain, so that no longer am I out to get those that appreciation in that way. What's your name? Diana.
Diana.
Diana. Why are you here?
Why I'm here to learn.
What do you want to learn? What was it about the topic that was of interest to you?
I think it wasn't about topic, it was because I was here last summer and I enjoyed it, so that's why.
Very good. Okay, you thought, the presenter more than the presentation. That's good. I like it. Thank you. Thank you for coming and supporting what I'm doing. I appreciate it. It's nice to have you. And who have we got here? Anastasia. Anastasia.
Yeah,
Wonderful, wonderful. Why are you here?
about energy, liking a lot of energy.
Okay, and how long has that been going on for?
Probably since I was born.
Okay. Okay, so you'd like to see more energy in your life?
I think maybe, yeah.
Okay. We can certainly help with that. So by following the things that I show you today, you will definitely increase your energy. I'll show you exactly how that works. Okay, so welcome. My name is Joshua Roy, and I have been doing life coaching and seminars now for a bit over 2 years. In 2015, I went to a Tony Robbins conference in Sydney, and that literally changed my life. And that's why I'm here today doing what I'm doing. Now, between 2002 and 2015, I was exercising the whole time. I grew up exercising. I loved exercise. I got myself into karate when I was young, and I started exercising, getting the habit when I was very young. And so that continued on through my teenage years and then into my adult years. However, I found that once I became an adult, once I hit the late 20s and the early 30s, I got the tummy fat. Anyone know what I'm talking about there? Once, like when you're young, it's easy, you can eat anything you want, you can have sugar, chocolates, soft drink, and it's no problem. Because I just exercise and I burn it off and no worries. But once I started getting in the late 20s and early 30s, I found that no matter how hard I trained, no matter what I did, this tummy fat would just stick there. And now, interestingly, people carry fat differently, different parts of the body. Some apple shape, some are pear shaped, so some carry it on the hips, some on the legs. I even saw one man carrying his weight on his calves. They were huge. And so people carry weight differently. And so if you're looking for six-pack abs and you carry all your weight in your stomach, then you have to work very hard. You have to work harder than most people. So what happened was, what I learned in 2015 literally changed me. And I found out how critical it was, two things. Mindset. Sharon spoke about mindset before. I found out that mindset was critically important to begin with. The second one was diet. And the third one was exercise. Whereas up to that point, I thought it was all about the exercise. I thought if I just went out and did the exercises, then I would get the body that I want, and then everything would work out. But you know what? It didn't work. And it doesn't work. Because these two components are so critically important. Mindset comes back to self-image. If you don't think and feel good about yourself, if you don't love yourself, it's very difficult to get the body that you want. Very difficult, because you're working against self-sabotage. You're working against those limited beliefs which may be holding you back. And so what I found out was that mindset is the most important. That's number one. That's what I put at the top. Mindset is critical. The second one is diet. And the third one is exercise. See, what I learned was that 80% of any success in life, and I've applied this principle to everything in my life. Relationships. If you're here in 2 weeks' time, come back for the relationship seminar. Ultimate love, dating and relationship workshop. What I found out was that psychology is as much as 80% of all success. Wow. Who would have thought that the mechanics of doing it, which are these two, the diet and the exercise, is only 20%. 80% is the psychology. 80% is knowing you can do it, knowing that you're going to succeed. Let me tell you about a friend of mine. Had a problem. He was a big man, he was overweight. He started slowing down. Now, he was only a young man in his early 30s and he had 2 small children. He went to see the doctor because he was struggling. He was having trouble getting around. He was a big man, like I said, probably weighed up around the 200 kilograms. When he went to see the doctor, he was an islander, and the doctor said, listen, if you don't change, you're going to be dead in 6 months. Sledgehammer to the face. He went home from that meeting and guess what? Nothing changed. He ate the same way. He wasn't doing the exercise. Why? That's how he was programmed. See, this programming starts when we're young. And he'd been living that way for so long that that was normal. Now he'd come to this time where a doctor said, you have to change. And he hadn't got it yet. Now what happened was, over the next couple of days, he started creating images in his mind. You know what they were of? His wife dressed in black. His children looking at his body in a coffin. And he started to get those images playing in his mind. You know, he came to a critical junction. He came to that point in his life where he knew that he must change. Now, after thinking about those images and after getting that inside him, suddenly he changed. You see, what happened was he reached what's called a significant emotional event. Significant emotional event. He was able to see clearly. He was able to see the direction, the trajectory of his current experience of life. Once he saw it, he didn't like it. He knew that it was leading him towards an early grave. Like I said, he's in his early 30s. So what did he do? He changed. He made the decision and changed. Now, over the next several months, he dropped something like 80 to 100 kilograms. He may have had to have something for his skin, but he was a big man and he lost all that weight. Incredible transformation. He turned his life around. Now, do we have to wait for that critical junction in our life? Do we have to wait for something to happen before we get the picture of saying, hey, I'm heading towards Niagara Falls. I'm in a little boat with no oars, and I'm heading towards Niagara Falls, and when I'm 2 foot away, I think, I don't want to be here. It's too late. We need to make these decisions early as possible. So look at time, so that we can go over to the side of the river, so that we can get out of harm's way. Now, luckily, he was able to turn it around. Many people don't. In fact, I have a friend at work, and his brother died from cigarettes. His other brother died from alcohol. Both of them hopelessly addicted. Both of them passed away before their time. You know what? He has a clean life. He doesn't drink, he doesn't smoke, he does exercise about 5 times every week. I work with this man, and you know what? He's dedicated to be healthy and strong and live a long life because he saw the example of his brothers. He saw the death, and it scared him, and he made the change. Significant emotional death, yes.
But should it be out of fear?
Well, should it be out of fear?
No, it shouldn't, but it might be.
Does fear work?
Yeah.
It does. It does. Like, we would think that it would all be out of love. It would all be out of something wonderful. But guess what? You'll do more, and I promise you this, you will do more to avoid pain than you will to gain pleasure. You will do more. Think about the painful things in your life. You will do more. Like, if public speaking is painful for you, you will do anything you can to avoid it. In fact, they said the greatest fear, one of the greatest fears that people have, is public speaking. I think heights was first, and then public speaking was number 2. Death was number 5. People would rather die than speak publicly, according to that survey. Isn't that interesting? People would do more to avoid pain than they would to gain pleasure. And so that's why we can use negative situations in our life to help us move forward in a positive way. We can also use positive things. But negative things are powerful, just as powerful. And I know I'm sharing a couple of negative stories, but it doesn't always need to be that way. If we can make the decision early, then we can positively move towards what we want. But for me, I still like using pain, because pain's a good teacher. And so is fear. It's a good teacher. And you don't want to get rid of fear. You want to embrace fear. You want to dance with fear. Fear's good to have a little bit of, because fear keeps us alive. Fear is safety. It's good that you're afraid to walk across the road in front of cars. That's a good fear to have. Because if that car hits you, You will die. It's good to have the fear that if you go over to, say, South Africa, to stay in your car when the tigers are out there. Not like that man that I saw on YouTube, get out to go and get a bit closer look and take a photo, and they came over and ate him. It's on YouTube. He just walked out to take a photo of these. Fear is good. Fear keeps you alive. Fear keeps you safe. We must have fear. However, we must also have the confidence when we choose to work through our fear or to dance with our fear and still do those things which are difficult. Make sense? Make sense? Okay, good. Next thing I wanted to talk about was Matsui Oyama. Now, you may not have heard that name before. Matsui Oyama lived many years ago in Japan, and he decided that he wanted to know the ultimate truth. He was a karateka, which means he did karate. And so he went to many different clubs and he started picking out, much like Bruce Lee, if you know Bruce Lee's story, he started picking out what he considered the best, most powerful moves from every style that he could go to. Then, with all this knowledge that he acquired, he went into a mountain for 3 years and he meditated, and he would knife hand strike rocks and break them with a knife hand strike. Little rock, like rocks this size, break them. He would then stand in freezing cold waterfalls. He would then go running and do like fitness. He took on animals. He was just incredibly strong. After this 3 years, which was split over two times, he couldn't do 3 years in a row for some reason. So there was 2 times, but he went up there and he did the 3 years. After returning, he did a tour of the USA where he fought 270 people. Not only did he win every fight, no fight lasted more than 30 seconds. He became incredibly tough because his mindset was such. And he trained his body. But it was mostly the mind. And he was nicknamed the Godhead. He actually took on a number of bulls in fighting. And this is something they don't do now, but he would actually fight bulls. And I think he killed about 49 bulls. He would actually chop their horns off with a knife hand strike, and he would kill them, sometimes with a single blow to the head. In fact, one bull was so badly beaten that when it died, they couldn't actually use the meat because it was so badly bruised. Okay, so I mean, this is not a very nice thing to talk about, really, especially if you're into animal cruelty or you're an advocate for animal safety. But this is something that he did, and he became very tough, very strong. And so he started a karate called Kyokushin because he was after the ultimate truth. He was looking for the difference that made a difference. He was looking for, how can I excel beyond? How can I lift the standard of what's possible? And that's the only reason I tell you about Matsui Oyama, is because he was someone who wanted to raise the standard of what was possible. What could a person, what could the human body actually accomplish? Now, let's get into this. Let's look at mindset. I'm going to make a couple of little points underneath each one of these. And the first one we're going to look at is, with mindset, we're going to look at the why. Why? First thing we need to answer is, why do we want it? Have we got a big enough reason? Have we got a why? Why do you want it? If it's six-pack abs, why do you want it? If it's health, if it's energy, why do you want it? Why is it so critical to your life? You know, I heard a speaker one time say that we should come up with 100 reasons as to our why. And so after listening to that, I immediately did it. Because I like to listen to something and then apply it. And so he said, come up with 100 reasons why. So over the next 10, 15, 20 minutes, I wrote 100 reasons why I'm going to be speaking in front of thousands of people one day. Why I'm going to be doing all these things in my future. And it got me so excited. And I thought of 100 reasons and I listed them out. And it was fantastic. A good thing to do, to understand or get enough reasons as to why. Now, not all of them were good reasons. They didn't need to be. But it was just that process of finding enough reasons, getting a big enough why to do it. Because if your why is small, you probably won't do what's required. Because let me tell you this. If your goal is getting six-pack abs, it's going to take tremendous effort, tremendous commitment, and it's going to be continual. It's not something you can do once and then let go of. It's something that needs continual effort and work. But doesn't your body? And so if you're going to change, I mean, why have they found out that many diets don't work? The diets don't work. Here's why diets don't work. It is because diets have an end date. So somebody many years ago coined the phrase lifestyle change. You see, the only thing that works is lifestyle change. If you're not getting the results you want, doing something different for a month won't change you. That'll just change you for that month. And then you'll revert exactly back to the old way of thinking. So if you're going to look at this why, look at why and throw it out in the future. Look at the end goal. Look at where you're heading towards. See the big picture. Okay, and this takes us to the next step, which is vision. The good book says, without vision the people perish. Without vision they die. It's the same if you don't have vision. You see, either you're growing or you're dying. Either you're getting fitter and healthier or you're going the reverse. Are you getting slimmer or fatter? That's another one. Either you're getting smarter, wiser, or you're getting stupider. In fact, you know what they're saying now about electronic devices? They're not actually making us smarter, they're making us dumber.
Yeah, definitely.
Why? Because you don't have to think, you don't have to remember phone numbers, it's all in your device. You don't have to remember things that you're doing later on, it's in your device. So all these things that people used to think and plan about are no longer happening. People are relying, and this over-reliance on technology is actually making us more stupid. Not a good place to be. So vision, we need to see the picture. Here's how I do vision. See, when someone comes to me and they said, well, I'd like to get fit and healthy, I'd like to drop 10 kilograms. What I'll do is I have them close their eyes and I'll take them forward along their timeline. And I'll ask them where in relation to their body their timeline is. I say, where's tomorrow? Where's a week's time? In fact, you want to do a little exercise, close your eyes for a moment and point to where the future is. Just point to where your future is. Wherever it is, just pick a direction and point. Where's your future? Is it up, down, left, right? Excellent. Okay, do you know where it is? Where's your future?
We're up.
Up. Nice. Okay, so everybody, we call that your timeline. That's your timeline. Wherever that direction is, if you go out far enough, you can see a year in the distance, and then 5 years and 10 years. That's your timeline. Okay, now the past is also in a direction. So where in relation to your body would the past be? Just pick a direction and point. For some it's straight back, others it's left, right, down. Where's the past? Pick a direction and point. Excellent. Straight behind. Nice and simple. Yours is down. So up and down. Excellent. Okay. Everybody has their own perception of where time is. And time is stored by location in our body. I'll go more into that when I teach my seminar. We go much more into and deeper into timelines. We actually start doing work in the timeline. But if somebody wants to change, what I do is I say, well, pick a date, let's say 1 year in the future, go along in your timeline and see as if see that thing that you want as if it's already happened. See it, but don't just see it. See it, hear something about it, feel it, smell it, taste it, self-talk, auditory, digital. Make sure that every component of your focus is in alignment. That's step 3, is focus. What I've learned that if somebody doesn't know how to focus the components, if they don't know how to align the components of their focus towards a common goal, then what will happen is part of you will head towards the goal and part of you will head in another direction. So part of you will say, I want to get up and exercise and be energized and ready to go. And the other part of you will be like, you know, sleep's an important part of health too. True? And so what we need to do is get every part of you in alignment. And the way that we can do that is through focusing. And what are the components of our focus? Let's have a look at it. We have visual. 2 is auditory. 3 is kinesthetic. Just for kin for short. Number 4, olfactory. olfactory, our smell. 5, gustatory, which is our taste. And 6 is our auditory digital, which is also our self-talk. The little voice you've got in your head, you're not crazy? Everybody has it. That little voice in your head, that's your self-talk. Now, let's say the person comes to me and they say, okay, I get this vision and I see myself with 6-pack abs, I'm looking fantastic. Yet, they have feelings like it's not going to happen. They have a feeling in their gut like it's not going to work. Or they have negative self-talk. Like they say, oh, it's not going to work. It's pretty pointless. It's useless even trying. Just give up now, it's easier. Just have that sugar donut. Looks so good. The smell works against us, taste works against us. See how all these things work together? So even though you've got this commitment and you see this vision, then you go to the party and the chocolate cake's sitting there. Oh, it looks good. The tendency is to go to that. Okay, if there's preconditioned programming, if there's self-sabotage happening, if all the components of focus aren't in alignment together, then it's easy then to go off track. Now, how do we get these components in alignment? Good question. Yes?
In your next life.
In your next life? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. In the seminar, we actually go through the processes and I show you step by step exactly how to get all these components in alignment together. It's phenomenal. Once you've got it, once you work it out, you can eliminate self-sabotage. You can eliminate those limiting beliefs. And I tell you what, once you go, like imagine having this. You know that tug of war sometimes you have with yourself? Oh, I want to do this, but no, I don't want to do that. Oh, I want to do this. Who's had that tug of war?
Yes.
Going back and forth with your feelings. What if? What if you could make a decision and both parts of yourself are just together in alignment? That's incredible when that happens. That happened to me in 2015 with my health. In fact, when that happened, I dropped 12 kilos in 5 weeks. Got myself in the best shape of my life, broke all my records. Even in my 20s, all my physical health records. Amazing, right? And you might think, well, that's probably because you spent hours and hours training. And no, I didn't. I gave myself half an hour a day. That was it. Half an hour a day. But what I did was get my diet right. What I did was make sure the exercise half an hour, this was right, but this mindset was every day. 2 hours every morning, I was working on mindset. That became the critical thing because this is the thing that worked. And I'll tell you, when I changed, it's like that.
Yeah, what were you doing for 2 hours a day when mindset were you reading?
I do what's called a morning routine.
Yeah.
It encompasses exercise, but that's only a small part of it. My morning routine is a ritual that I do every day that actually gets my mind, my body, my soul, my heart, my spirit all in alignment together. And so it's something that I learned partially from Tony Robbins, partially from, who else? Wim Hof. Wim Hof is known as the Iceman. So I learned part of it from him. For example, my cold plunge. I jump into cold water every morning. So freezing cold water, jump in there for 30 seconds. Okay, so that's the cold plunge. What that does, that
Do you
resets
have a
the...
special device for that? Because even the cold tap water is warm.
Well, you can actually get a freezer, like a double-sized freezer.
Doesn't Tony travel with one?
He travels with something, but you can actually put water in a freezer, get a timer on it, turn it on for about 5 hours a day, and the water there will stay around 4 degrees. So you can buy them on Gumtree for about $100, a double-sized freezer, and you can jump in that every day and get the autonomic shock through your system. Okay, so that's one way to do it.
So we
I reckon the cold
Hey?
showers
Do
are
you do
good.
that?
I get cold every morning. I haven't got to that point yet. That'll be my next venture. In winter though, that's my favourite time because I love jumping in the pool in winter because that's cold. In the middle of winter, freezing cold water, 30 seconds, love it.
Your head too? Or not?
Everything, face. Head doesn't matter as much, but your face, you definitely want it. You want the shock to go through your system. See what happens is, everyone know about the autonomic nervous system? It's split into 2 parts. You've got the autonomic. You've got the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. Okay, so the sympathetic is your fight-flight response. That's fight-flight. The parasympathetic is rest and digest. It's also sexual desire. That's why they say have a cold shower. There's science behind that. Sexual and also appetite. So if you're having trouble with appetite, if you're having trouble because you overeat, this is a way to reset the autonomic nervous system of the body. So what happens is you reset the system. It's like starting again. Make sense?
Yes, I just have a question with the, for example, if we see the cake and we want to eat the
Yes.
cake, and if I don't have any like a strong motivation, I just know
Yes.
it's bad for me,
Yes,
but I want to eat it because it makes me happy.
it does. It does.
So what should I?
You know what makes you happy? It's usually addiction to sugar, sugar addiction, and sugar works with the brain and creates happiness. And so that's what happens. That's what sugar does. Yeah.
I thought parasympathetic was about relaxing.
Yes, rest and digest.
Okay.
So you've got rest and digest. So rest and digest are the actual main ones, but it also is the house of sexual desire and also appetite. So appetite and digestion work together. Rest and this work together. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Is the
Autonomic.
autonomic both synthetic?
Yeah. There's also another component. These are the two that I focus on. So you can go and research that and you can find out what the third component is and how that helps us. But these are the two that I look at and say, well, that's why when somebody has a overzealous sexual desire, a cold shower is the preferred method. That's what they actually tell them. There's science behind that. Because once you reset the system with the cold shower, it's much easier then to control yourself. Now, if you're faced with that thing about the appetite, with that cake, go jump in freezing cold water and you'll feel less like a cake.
But if I want the pleasure of the cake.
Yes. If you want the pleasure of the cake is stronger, if the pleasure of the cake is stronger than your willpower or your why, or it's bigger than your why, then you'll take the cake.
Okay.
That's
So
why we
it's
need
bigger than
mindset.
why.
And this training, you don't just go into a mindset course and go, okay, I've got the mindset, I'm ready to go, because that wears off. Because mindset is a funny thing. Mindset is like gravity. You with me on this? It's like gravity. You throw a ball up, what happens to the ball? It comes down. You jump up. You then come down again. Gravity. So when you go to a seminar, when you go to something, and you get so excited, like so pumped up, you can do anything. You're ready to rip the door off the hinges. You're ready to be so excited about life. I'm going to do it. This is the time. This is where it's all going to happen. And you get that feeling in your body that you know it's going to work. What happens after a week?
Down.
Yeah, after a week you're like, far out. If only I could bottle that. Or you see a child, the children's jumping, and it's Christmas morning, and they've got this energy that you're looking at, and you see the energy. And they've got so much excitement in them, so much joy, so much desire to get into that present. Alright? And you go, wow, if only we could bottle that energy and then sell it to people. How good would that be? Well, the stuff that I teach you, or the stuff that I share in the seminar, is simply about bottling the energy. But you bottle it inside. So what happens is we get your mindset to such a height. Like this, incredible. And the way we do it is through, I'll give you a little hint, is through using your body, using your physiology. When you use your physiology, when you get excited physically, even if you don't feel it inside initially, your body will make the difference. Your body will make up the gap between your thinking and your mindset. Okay, your body will make up the gap. So the way I start first, see, I used to think it was all about thinking. Thinking, be positive. It's all about thinking. But you know what? I wasn't getting the results. It wasn't until I realised that I had to get excited every morning. So you ask what I do in the morning? I get excited. You know what I do? I get excited like that every morning. And I do this out at the park or wherever I am. I'm actually there's no one around because it's a bit weird, right? People think I'm psycho. In fact, I have had the police call them. Yeah. So I'd be careful now. They're saying, yeah, they come and go, what are you doing, psycho? What are you doing? No. What I'm saying is, when you use your body in a certain way, you create different feelings. There's different feelings that rush through your system. Those feelings bring with them emotion, because motion creates emotion. Best way I can describe this is by sharing a little poem that I wrote. It goes like this. Stand up tall, head held high, walk with confidence. Raise your chest, shoulders back. It's no coincidence that when you move, when you walk, when you act this way, you will find that you will have a bright and happy day. Drop your head, lower your gaze. Sit in idleness. Shoulders down, body slouched, face expressionless. When you move, when you walk, when you act this way, you will find that you will have a sad and sullen day. Jump with joy, power move. Jump with energy, or leap with energy. I'm still practicing my call. So leap with energy, one of those, okay? Fist pump. Leap with energy. Get excited. Be playful. Stand with supremacy. See, when you move, when you walk, when you act this way, you will find that you will have a transformational day. So what I learned at the seminar was, when you move your body, it creates feelings. Those feelings lead to emotion. Those emotions become elevated. And what does that do to mindset? What does that do to mindset? It takes you to another level. You start to believe that the impossible is possible. You start to believe that you can really make a difference. This is the key. So in the seminar, that's what we do. We hardwire that into your unconscious mind so that you change without conscious awareness. Make sense?
What was the quote? Motion something...
What's that?
Motion does what?
Motion creates emotion.
Oh, emotion.
Motion creates emotion. So when you move, you create emotion. If you move like this, you create an emotion. If you were to describe to me someone who's depressed, what would you describe? Where are their shoulders? In or down? Where is their gaze? It's the second verse of that poem. Okay, that's depression. And everyone goes, well, it's a chemical imbalance. You don't understand, there's something wrong with the chemicals in my brain. And I get that, I understand that. And you know what? I'm not against medication, because I know medication does replace some of those chemicals. However, part of me goes, well, who creates the chemicals in your body? If are you a cause or are you an effect? If I can create good feelings in my body by doing this, and get good chemicals running through my body by doing a power move, and by getting myself into a peak elevated state, if I can make myself feel fantastic, couldn't I also make myself feel like crap? Couldn't I also think about the things that aren't working in my life and get down in the dumps? Couldn't I also use my body in a less than mobile way? It's a choice. It's a choice. And if you want a good mindset, if you want to elevate your mindset, we need a big enough why. We need a vision, and we need to focus all the components of our focus. Get them in alignment together. And the quickest way that I know to do that is through using the body. Through using the body to supercharge the mind. What else? Mindset. There's a fourth point that I had. Oh, this is a good one. I can't believe I forgot this. This is called the faith continuum. Continuum. The faith continuum. We finish with all this. Get rid of these things. Now, I'm not going to share the whole lot of this faith continuum. I'm going to say that on the bottom end of the scale, we have, and you brought it up before, fear. We spoke about fear. You have fear down here. Fear is a motivator, not the best motivator, but it is a motivator. And it's not one that we should rely on. It can help us to move, but once we're moving, it's better to have a vision and have a big enough why and have something positive moving us forward. You don't want to stay there. You don't want to be stuck running away from something. So fear, limited beliefs, and also laziness is down the bottom end of the scale. Think of a sliding scale that goes up this way. In the middle we have hopes and dreams. Hopes and dreams. And at the top end of the scale we have total conviction and absolute knowledge. So total conviction and absolute knowledge. This is what I call the faith continuum. Now, if you're down here, if your mindset's here, and you're stuck in fear, laziness, limited beliefs, in fact, the author Dennis Waitley said that fear, laziness, and limited self-beliefs, he said that they're the three biggest resistors to success in our life. They're the three biggest problems or hurdles that people have, the biggest challenges. So if you're stuck down here in this area, and you want to make a difference, guess what? You probably won't. And that's why people come to a seminar or a meet-up group, and some people leave and don't change. Some people go and see the doctor, and the doctor says you've got 6 months to live, and they live for 6 months. 6 months. The doctor basically gives them a death sentence, and they said, okay, doc, you're the boss. What day was I supposed to die again? Whereas others will go, no, I don't accept what you're saying. My grandmother did that. The doctor told her she had a certain period of time to live, and she said, I don't accept what you're saying. She rejected what he said, and she lived for 20 years. Incredible. Right? She had sarcoidosis in her lungs, which was, they said they'd never seen lungs that bad in a living person. And she kept living because her mindset was incredible. I have a cousin who's supposed to have been dead 20 years ago. He's still alive because his mindset is incredible. He has so much will to live. He has so many things that he wants to accomplish. He's now just got married and had another baby. Incredible. He's living his life despite what the doctor said. Okay, that's what we need, that incredible mindset. That doesn't even happen with dreams and hopes. Like people said, yeah, I dream about it. I hope it'll work out. I hope that I'll be rich one day. I dream about it. Dream about my mansion. It's not going to cut the grade. The only thing that works, I found, the only thing that works is having a total conviction and absolute knowledge. You must be certain. And so with the mindset, the vision that we have must be so clear in our mind. And we need to make it a must. And when it's a must, we can go get it. Okay, let's stop for a moment. Let's recap. Actually, let's get together and let's have a chat. So I want you to meet the person next to you. Turn your side. Say hello, I'm so-and-so, and I'm so-and-so. Let's get to meet each other. In fact, let's get the front row to turn around and talk to the back row. And what I want you to do is talk about, for 2 minutes each, what you're learning here tonight. Something that you picked up. Because when you share it, guess what? You lock in your brain more.
Yeah, that's pretty cool stuff. I guess the mindset. I think it's true. Is that the mindset diaries. What is this way? You don't have to diet that mindset.
So it's ringing true. What do you say? It's ringing true for me too. I say I focused on one thing. Focus was
Power moves are a great way to
well,
get
but
the
focus
excited.
other things.
When you're
Because anything, that's
you
one.
need to have total
Yeah,
conviction.
it's hard sometimes. Just the
But it takes
So I was thinking, when you call mindset,
exactly what other things.
and then the next step is physiology. So I do psychology and physiology. It's great.
We might take one thing about it. At least
Yeah, so
drink a lot of coffee.
I want
That's what I like, like coffee,
to
add
just don't do it.
drink 5 cups of coffee and take a glass of coffee.
And if I just need to on that
He
mindset.
goes through, Tony Robbins said all of it.
It's always
Really
challenging, yeah.
Yeah.
The mind telling you
Yeah.
to do something, the body.
Conscious
And it's
awareness.
like the feeling when you get out
Success, that's what it's all
For
about.
me, it's all about the mindset. Everything.
And he changes the mind through physical exercise.
Basically, yeah, give up.
You jump in
coffee.
coffee, 8 hours of jump.
So you got biscuit chocolate.
And at the end of the evening, you're still totally empty.
Before I do that, I went through my definitions of things that I do.
When I first started, I used to miss the coffee. The body
He's
just
very cross.
telling me like this. Yeah, the mind telling me,
He
you take this coffee, but I
It's
just
just numbing sort of that feeling.
barrier, just training my
Yeah, it's just
it's bad for me. It's more like just change my belief.
But he got
So say I need coffee to get through my day. I said, drink
That's something
green
I'll
tea.
do.
It
Exactly what
takes
I
time.
So,
Yeah,
it
listen,
depends where you want to
give up.
create the cross.
You feel a bit tired. Yeah.
That's what I talked about. That started what?
Do I need to know?
All my kids were baptized, no, first. And then worked from there.
Just the presentation, it's very pretty, the flowers.
You probably offer, you might
And,
find happy.
yeah, so we went through that. It's all
You know, sometimes you down and just run away, it just goes away.
And they all respect the way they think.
Yeah.
That's something else.
That's how you start getting your
Like,
mind.
when you go and you're in the box, and you kick a dirt, it's like,
I eat right, but then
Yeah, just the
I
temptation is hard sometimes.
Right, guys, let's bring it back.
Let's
bring it back in the room.
No, but I love them.
Right, so let's just share something with the group.
That's.
Larry, you're still talking, you want to share with the group?
Oh,
Just share something you,
I didn't even
that
share
you
with
got?
Anastasia.
that's all right, just share something quickly that you got out of this.
Oh, out of that.
And what we're talking about.
Yeah. I love the, Anastasia.
Oh, so what were you sharing about?
Anastasia, she called the mindset the psychology,
Yes,
and then of course the exercise is the physio.
physiology.
So, yeah, I just like those two terms.
Mhm.
And just getting them in, talking about getting things in sync and getting them lined up, that's obviously what I've got to work on.
Getting things in sync, getting the mind up.
Yeah.
Getting the, elevating that mindset. Good. Excellent, Chris.
Yeah, same thing.
Okay.
I realise that I've been motivated in one direction and I've neglected a lot of other areas of life.
Yeah.
And that's what this is helping me.
Uh-huh.
Realise that there's areas that I've neglected
Yeah.
and health was probably one of them.
It's interesting you say that. Access Sport Seminars is a little project that I put together in 2015, and there's 4 areas that I focus on. The first being physical health. That's where we're all at tonight, it's all physical health. The second being relationships,
Yeah.
because without your relationships, how fulfilled are you really? Really the most important things in our lives are our relationships, our loved ones. Then we've also got our finances, because it's great to do things in style. I mean, you can turn up to places when you turn up in style. You've got a nice car, you've got nice things, you're able to take your family out and have experiences with them, be able to take them on holidays. Next week we're going down to Sydney for a week trip. We're staying in the Seagull Motel down there. It's on the Manly Seagull. So really exciting to go down there, go to Geelong Zoo and see some of those things with the family. So that we spend that time together. It's about creating memories. And it's hard to do that if you're always going penny pinching and there's not enough money. We want to be able to live and enjoy our life. And that's the third area, is finance. We need to get that in order. And the fourth area is spirituality or growth. Making sure that we've got direction and purpose. I was just on the phone tonight with a woman for 45 minutes and she's telling me that she has no purpose. And so I'll be spending some time with her on Monday and we'll be discussing that. We'll be discussing how over the next few months, if she wants to take on life coaching, that we can work on finding her purpose. She's in her 60s. No, I think she's 58 and doesn't have a purpose. Her children are grown up, very successful. One's a doctor, one's a dentist, very successful, but she has no purpose. Her marriage is, there's not a lot of passion, not a lot of love, and she's just floating. She's just drifting. And it's just sad to see, yeah.
I think that's what Chris said. He said, like last year and the year before, got on to juices and doing this and doing that, and his health was good.
Yeah.
He just said then, you know, he got to what, I don't care.
Absolutely.
So,
They just lost the,
you know what it is though?
lost the motivation.
It's a plateau. It's like when you learn a sport, right? Let's say you want to learn tennis. So you go and learn tennis, and initially you're really good at it. Initially, like, it changes your life, and you're actually really excited. So initially you do this, and suddenly you're playing really good, and the learning curve is like that. But eventually, you'll plateau. Okay? Or you'll be better than the people you're playing with. And you stop improving at the same rate. So then you say, well, what's going wrong? Well, then you start playing people that are harder than you. The challenge comes back, and guess what? You start learning again. Because the challenge is there. Now you've got a reason. You're like, oh, he's beaten me 5 times straight. I've got to get better just to get on the court. And then eventually you plateau again. And so you've got to look for something else that's going to boost you. That's going to give you that drive to continue. This is where mindset comes in each time. Because every time we plateau, what I do myself is I go to seminars. I'm actually going to Tony Robbins' seminar in May this year. At the end of the year, I'm going to 2 other seminars. 3 seminars this year. That's to keep me moving forward. Because there's so much that I need to learn. Certainly I've got a lot of knowledge, and I've obtained that over the last couple of years. I've been learning like crazy. But there's so much more I want to know. There's so much more I want to learn. There's so much more I want to feel. And if I can continually hit these plateaus and continually push forward, maybe get to the point where there are no plateaus. It's just continual. That's what I want. And that's probably why I'm so happy right now, is that there's continual growth happening. There's 2 things that bring fulfillment. You know what they are? 2 things. One is growth. Growth. And ease and luxury, or I should say it this way, too much ease and luxury is the enemy to progress. Too much ease and luxury is the enemy to progress. And if you're not progressing, if you're not growing, you are dying. It's as simple as that. So progress is everything. That's one thing that's going to bring you fulfillment. So if you're not happy in your life, in any area of your life, it's because you're dormant in that area. It's because you're not growing. So we need to grow. That's the first one, continual growth. Some people say, can I? Can I? Constant and never-ending improvement. Can I? The next one is, so growth is one. The next thing we need to do is contribute. What do you think I'm here tonight? It gives me fulfillment. I come here and I share this with you for free, and guess what? I go away feeling fantastic. I go away feeling that I've touched someone. I've touched, moved, and inspired someone to do something, to make some changes in their life. To even come back a second time. Thank you for coming back. You know what I mean? So that gets me excited. Gets me really excited that I'm contributing to people's lives. This woman who was unfulfilled today, guess what? Her children have grown up. They're very successful. They don't need mum anymore. And mum's looking around saying, what's my purpose now? Her purpose was a mum. And she did a great job. She raised 3 independent, wonderful children. All have successful careers. But what now? What's next? See, she's now hit a plateau. What's next? That's where I come in. As a life coach, I'm there to show her mindset, and we're here to start her growing again in another direction. She just needs to pick something she loves, and go for it. That'll get her growing again. When you're growing, you're happy. When you're growing, you're fulfilled. When you're contributing to others, you're happy and fulfilled also. Okay, these are 2 things we need. All right. Anyone else want to share? What did you learn?
It's more about mindset.
Okay, what was it? Tell us.
I used to drink a lot of coffee years ago, like pretty much coffee addictions.
Yeah.
But I managed to get that up.
Nice. Nice. And
Maybe like 2 years ago, I stopped drinking coffee.
Oh, wow.
That's fantastic.
That's
So I feel much better, yeah, more energy, more happier.
Yes.
The mind, the body. That's hard. It's more about the mindset.
Yeah.
It's about all this limiting belief.
Oh yeah, who thinks it's going to be easy? Who thinks it's easy
So
to
having
change
to
the
go
mindset?
to a bit of pain to come out on the right side.
The habits you form in a lifetime are easy. You run along that path.
It is.
The moment you try to change, everything in your body screams no. That's how hard it is.
You see, what happens is there's 3 stages of consciousness. There's the mind, there's the emotions or the heart, and then there's the body. And what happens is when you repeat that pattern over and over again using the mind, the heart, and the body, your body locks into something as being normal, being the way things are supposed to be. And when you try and change that, it's throwing a spanner in the works. Actually, if I could explain it this way. I explained it really well the other day. I'll see if I can get that thought back. Your mind was created for survival, not to make it happen. Your mind was created for survival. So, because you've survived doing what you're currently doing, your mind is happy with what you're doing. It's not happy necessarily, but your mind is content to continue doing what it's currently been doing. Because that has allowed you to survive up until this point. Therefore, your brain thinks that it's doing its job, which is survival. Your brain's job is survival, not happiness. Happiness is up to you. So if you want to create happiness, you have to convince your brain that it needs to change. Not that it's a good idea to change, not that it would be nice to give up the chocolate cake, not that it would be good, to make different choices, but it must change. You must convince your brain of that. Now the trouble is, your brain thinks that when you go to change it, that could lead to your demise. So your brain will fight against you. That's how it works. That's why when people want to change, often they don't, or they're unable to.
And that's why we're here. Because we've made it.
And so it's funny though, because I talk to people, and like I'll see a person for the first time, and oh yeah, everything's great, everything's fine. Oh, how's it in this area? Yeah, it's good, going well. It's not until the 2nd or 3rd visit that I sit down with someone and they break down in tears. And this one man, he had a pornography addiction. It was hidden.
Yeah.
Nobody knew about it. Nobody knew about it. Nobody. It was something he did quietly, by himself, when nobody was around. And you know what? It was eating him up inside. And he didn't feel good about it. He didn't want it. He didn't want that in his life. And that could be like a coffee addiction. It eats you up from the inside. You know that you can't resist it. It's got you. And that's where he was. And the first and second time, they go, yeah, there's no problems, my life is great. I'm like, really? What I've found by being a life coach is that everybody has challenges. And you wouldn't believe the size and the depth and the width of these challenges. They are big, and they come from childhood, and they come from middle age, middle school, and they come from early adulthood, they come from failed relationships, and they come throughout life. Everybody has challenges. What most people don't have is the tools to deal with those challenges. What most people don't know is how to get rid of that limiting belief that they had when they were 5 that's totally disrupted their health today. They've got cancer or they've got some disease, and most of the time, if you know Louise Hay, or if you ever read any of her material, most of the time, physical conditions have underlying emotions at their roots. Once you deal with the underlying emotions, guess what happens? The physical ailments can be resolved. It's amazing. In fact, I didn't believe when I started doing this work. I couldn't even get my head around it. But there was one day where I had 7 people that I helped. One had a headache. Within 5 minutes, no more headache. Using the tools that I now know. Another one had period pains, period cramps. Within 2 minutes, 5 minutes, that was gone. Another one had a wrist that was in pain. He'd broken it when he was younger, and it was constant pain for him, about level 5 out of 10. After I finished doing the exercise, it was down to 1 out of 10. I decided to leave it there because it's good to have a little bit of pain. As a reminder, don't overdo it. Sometimes pain is good. What does pain do? There's three things. It protects, is the first thing. You step on something that's sharp, you pull your foot away, it protects you. It corrects bad behaviour. If you're doing something you shouldn't be doing, like putting your hand in the mouth of an alligator, it's going to hurt. You probably shouldn't do that. Okay, I don't know if you ever saw that YouTube video. Some Chinese fellow did it, and it just bit his arm. It started rolling. Okay, so pain protects us. It tells us don't do that again. So when you're in a relationship, and the relationship ends badly, guess what happens? You don't want to go in a relationship again. Because relationships end badly. What was it that Dr. Phil says? The best predictor of future behaviour is past behaviour. So you've gone through that pain, then you're in a relationship, or you're wanting another relationship, but you've got this memory of this pain that's preventing you from having that relationship that you want. This is all work in the past. So in life coaching, we've got three parts. Counselling is work in the past. Coaching is work in the present. Mentoring is working in the future. We do all three. Okay, and we do it differently to psychology. We use mindset. It's all about mindset. A psychologist will give you tools and strategies, and you know what? Fantastic. Love the profession. In fact, I read a lot of psychology. Sometimes, though, I think they get it wrong. Because you go and see a psychologist that's not living it, that's not doing it. That's not doing it. In fact, many psychologists have all screwed up in their patients. One psychologist said he'd never met anyone as messed up as he was. And he's a psychologist. He's the person that you're giving money to and going to see. The difference in life coaching is you better be doing it. You know, if I'm going to come here and teach six-pack abs, I better have abs, right?
You show us.
Can't see that. I'll make sure the camera's not on. I'll show you the corner later. Your place of mine. Okay, so abs, six-pack abs. You better have them, right? So if you're going to be a personal trainer, you want to be fit and healthy. You don't want to be a personal trainer but lazy. How well are you going to do? Or if you're going to teach money and finance, you don't want to be bankrupt. Right? If you're going to teach relationships, you'd better have a relationship that works. That's why I teach relationships, because my marriage works. I've worked out the techniques and the mindset to get it to a high peak level. That it's a relationship that works. And actually, most of the work that I'm doing currently is relationships. I'm getting people calling me about relationships quite a lot. I'm doing sometimes 1 to 2 sessions a week just on relationships. That's probably the biggest thing that people are looking for at the moment. There's so many marriages out there not working. What do they say? 47% of first marriages end in divorce. 68% of second marriages and 87% of third marriages end in divorce. Right?
How many fourth marriages?
Fourth marriage, who knows? How many suicides from those that have been divorced the third time? No, it's a difficult thing. Why? Because the best predictor of future behaviour is what? Past behaviour. And so if you've been divorced once, guess what? And you blame the other person for the divorce, guess what? Without looking at yourself, without accepting full responsibility, how do you change it? It's almost impossible. Okay, but that's where mindset training comes in. And that's what the seminar can do. Is it gets all these things, it gets this mindset in this peak condition, peak state. So that when you go out, you can help people with problems. One woman had a sprained ankle. She's limping around. I did the technique with her. She's walking normal. No more pain in her ankle. I'm like, wow, this stuff is great.
I'm listening for it.
Have you? Come on. I don't have time tonight. We're going to this diet and exercise. Are you guys right for me to get going with mindset? Everyone came for mindset. Let's talk mindset. Okay, I went to see this man who was a quadriplegic. And as I went to see this man, he was lying down in the bed, as he would be. Now, for some reason, this man could actually move his left arm just a little bit. And doctors and nurses didn't know why he could. It was actually quite bizarre to them that he could even move it, because technically, as a quadriplegic, you're not supposed to be able to move anything from the neck down. Now, he had no feeling or sensation in it, but he could actually manage to work a mobile phone, which was quite good. Anyway, while I was there with him, I asked him to get excited. In fact, we actually got excited together. I said, can you remember last time you really got excited about something? And he told me that his son played football and he saw him on TV. It wasn't professional football, but it was like the next league, like first grade. And he said his son scored a try and he was so proud and so excited. And I said, great, go back to that time. And then I used what's called the state elicitation script. The state elicitation script is a script used in NLP. You can actually look this up if you want. It's called state elicitation. Now, what state elicitation is leading somebody into a different emotional feeling. So let's say I walk into a room and I'm really excited, and I want the room to be excited, like tonight. Then when I get excited, guess what happens? You start feeling excited. True? You walk into a room and somebody's depressed, what begins to happen? You can start to feel depressed because there is a field of energy around us. They actually say that it's about 8 meters around us. And anybody within that sphere of 8 meters can actually feel the energy that your body's exuding. Are you aware of that? So when you're depressed, happy, joyful, excited, people in your vicinity can actually feel it unconsciously. And so the state elicitation script is a way to lead somebody from one feeling to another. So if somebody was, say, angry, upset, depressed, and you wanted them to be happy, you could actually lead them to happiness by being happy yourself and by being more committed to your emotional state than they are committed to their emotional state. Does that make sense? It depends who's more committed. So if you're more committed to feeling good and they're more committed to feeling bad, then it becomes a war to see who's the most committed, to see who can drain the other person or who can lift the other person. And it becomes this tug. Some relationships are like that, I tell you. You got one person who's positive, one person who's negative, and it becomes this tug. It becomes this, what are you going to do? You're not going to affect me. You're not going to make me sad. And the other one's going, you're not going to make me happy. Nothing you do will make me smile. And it becomes this war. Probably not what I'm talking about. Okay, so the state elicitation script is a way to lead somebody into a different emotional state. And so what I'd say is, think about a time when you felt excited. That's what I said to this man. Think about a specific time. See what you saw, hear what you heard, and feel the feelings of excitement in your body right now. Now, as a NLP specialist, as an excitement specialist, which I call myself, I need to be excited in order to lead someone to excitement. Because if I'm not feeling excited, how could I possibly lead an audience or lead somebody else into excitement? So before I go in, I make sure I'm ready, I make sure I'm excited, I use my body, I get that feeling of excitement inside. Then when I speak to them, I'm able to lead them to excitement. And that's what I did with this man. And I said, so think about this football game, see what you saw, imagine you're there looking through your own eyes. He did it beautifully. And his head started bobbing up and down, and he started gurgling. Remember, he's a quadriplegic. So he starts gurgling, he made these sounds like he was drowning, like he was choking his own saliva. And his eyes rolled backwards. And I thought, oh my goodness, I'm going to kill the poor fellow. Anyway, he came through at the end. I said, are you okay? He said, oh yeah. He said, it's just really hard because of the condition I'm in. I said, no worries. But you're okay? He said, yeah, I'm fine. I said, well, let's do it again. So I got him to think about another thought that was exciting. And we did it again. He got really excited. His head's bobbing up again. He's gurgling again. His eyes are rolling backwards. But anyway, he was excited. And I said, great. Now, before I'd started that technique, I asked him about his range of movement. I said, how high can we throw him? He said, this high. I said, lift it as high as you can. He did that. I did the excitement exercise. Got him excited, right? Then I said, now lift up your arm as high as it'll go. He lifted his arm up above his head. It was incredible. He'd been a quadriplegic for 12 years at that stage. I said, have you ever lifted your hand that far? And he's looking at me, his eyes were wide. He said, never. I was so excited. I was just pumped. I was so excited because this works. Mindset is so powerful. It's even more powerful than having disabled nerves in behind the neck. It's so powerful that mindset can literally change a person's life. Next time I visited him, I said, let's go one step further. I said, this time we're going to move your right arm. He'd never ever moved his right arm. And so we did a technique, we did a few things, nothing worked. And I started to feel like a little bit frustrated because it wasn't working. But then I thought, no, wait a minute. I'm trying to make him do something that I want him to do. So I changed my approach and I asked him this question. I said, where in your body is the belief that you cannot walk? Where in your body is that belief? You know what he said? He said, it's in my left big toe. I said, fair enough. Then I used the technique I just used up the front. I said, think about a colour attached to that. He said, red, just like you said. And I said, now grab all that red out and spin it. We spin it the opposite way, the opposite of what it was. And then I said, when you're ready, when you know you've got it, when it's impossible for it to go back the way it was, shove it back in and notice what happens. He shoved it back in using his mind. He couldn't spin with his hands. He did it all with his mind. He shoved it back in, and then we looked at his toe. And his toe began to wiggle. It was incredible. I looked at him, and his eyes were wide, and this big smile. And he said, look, 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 look. And he was looking at it again. I looked back, and it continued to wiggle. We counted 6 wiggles. Incredible. Incredible. Never moved his toe. Not for 12 years. That's what mindset can do. Here, let's move on. That's cool, eh? It's a good story.
Can I question how we change mindset of someone who is angry?
How do you change the mindset? You can't change someone's mindset. You can influence their mindset.
But if someone is angry,
if someone's angry, how do you influence their mindset? How do you influence their mindset? Well, there's 2 ways to do it. One way that most people try is trying to be calm and lead them from anger. Or you can do it the way I do it, I yell back at them. When they're angry, I go angry. And here I'll tell you why. I'll tell you the reason why. There's a technique that I use which is called matching and mirroring. This is on the basis that we like people who are like us or like somebody we want to be like. We do not like people who are not like us or not like somebody we want to be like. So therefore, if somebody's yelling at you and you're different, they have less respect and less like for you. But if you yell at them, suddenly they begin to like you, unconsciously. Now matching and mirroring comes in, and this is what I use the technique, and I'll tell you one experience. There was a man who was yelling, going out of control, and we got him out of the place where he was, and we had to move him somewhere else. He wasn't playing nice with another man. And so we needed to separate them. This is part of my profession. So I was going to move to another location. And we called him out of the cell, and I said, mate, what's going on? He said, well, he started it. The guy there, he was doing it. He was getting angry at me. I didn't do anything. He started it. So you know what I did? I matched his body language. I matched his volume. I matched his hand gestures. I saw everything that he was doing, and I did it straight back to him. Here's what I did. I said, well, what did you do? What did you do that for? What was he saying to you? He said, well, he started on me. I didn't do anything. He started on me. He's the one you should be taking. He's the one you should be punishing. And then I said, what do you want us to do about it? What should we do about it? He said, don't worry about it. And he walked off. I'm serious. Like, I wouldn't have believed it unless I actually was there doing it myself. But I find that I yell at people that yell at me, and guess what? 1, they're confused. 2, they actually respect me and like me. Why? Because I'm using the same volume. I'm using the same hand gestures. I'm matching and mirroring their body, their words, their volume, their gestures.
So you wouldn't yell at someone that's depressed, or you wouldn't yell at someone to try and motivate them?
Well, here's the way. Actually, sometimes that works too. And here's the other approach. The other approach is to go opposite. And to go opposite. And just be calm and gentle. There's no reason to get angry about it. And so that is another approach, and most of them use that approach. I just like the matching one because it's fun. In fact, I work with depressed people and I get depressed. And it's so much fun. Like, so if somebody's depressed and I match their body language, I move like they move. It's so good. And I tell you what, they start opening up to you. If I have a depressed person, they come in and sit down next to me, you know what I don't do? Let's get excited! Because they're going to go, man, this guy's nuts. If I've got a depressed person, I go into depression with them. And you can only do that. It's only, no, actually really go into it. I actually feel it. You've got to feel the emotion. I've got plenty of things in my life I can be depressed about. I can choose depression. I can choose to feel as depressed as that depressed person. The thing is, I don't stay there. As soon as it's up, it's up. I snap back out of it. They're living in it. They're staying there. And that's hard. It's draining. It's terrible. Okay, but what I do is I work with depressed people to lift them, and I work through their depression. So I'll go match them and meet them in their depression, build rapport, and then I'll move as fast as that rapport will stay. So if I rise a bit, tell a joke, and they laugh, we're moving out of depression. And then we slowly move up. Now, I've got plenty of more experiences and stories that I'll talk about, but I'll share them at the seminar, because we're going to get into this. Let's go through these really quickly. How are we going? Tired? Everyone up? Everyone up? This is the last part of mindset. This is excitement. Okay, so I want you to think about a time when you were excited in your life. Think about a specific time. Go back to that time, see what you saw, hear what you heard, and feel the feelings of excitement in your body right now. Okay, that's the next step. So the next step is you're going to let it out. Alright, so the next step is we're going to let it out. So now I'm going to count to 3 and I want you to let it out. Okay, so I want you to make some noise. I want you to jump off the ground and get excited. Can we do that?
Oh, yeah.
Is it hard or easy?
That's easy.
Easy. Let's do it. Ready? Let's go. 1, 2, 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Yeah! Yeah! Okay. How's that feel?
Great.
Let's do it once more. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Yeah! Yes! Very good job. All right, take a seat, take a seat, take a seat. Feeling energized, feeling fantastic. Let's go into the next part of this. Let's talk about diet. Okay, first of all, does everyone know about the acid-alkaline balance in the body? Our blood ranges between, or our whole body system, ranges between acid and alkaline. Where does our blood have to sit? Anyone know? 7.36. Slightly alkaline. Okay, 7 is a halfway point. 7.36 is slightly alkaline. Now, a lot of problems that people have with diet is that they've got an acid-based diet. What's an acid-based diet? Excessive protein. Excessive carbs. Processed foods. Excessive dairy. And what else? Does this make up most people's diet? You've got the protein, the meat, you've got the pasta, you've got the dairy, the milk and the whatever else, the cereals, bread and cereal, that's carb and dairy, that's breakfast. Lunch is what? Maybe a pasta for lunch. And then dinner might be a steak and a few token vegetables. And there you go, so you have heaps of protein. Okay, next one is sugar. Sugar is very acidic on the body. In fact, what sugar does, especially processed sugar, if I was to draw a picture, everyone's finished all this, we'll get rid of this. But anyway, did that answer your question, the matching mirror?
So, yeah.
In fact, we actually practice a lot of this in the seminar. So when you come to the seminar, we practice this whole sessions of matching and mirroring where we practice it. It's great fun. Okay? Acting like people, doing things the way they do it. And you feel really listened to and understood when someone does that. It's honouring a person, it's not being tricky. But it's the deepest way to build rapport is matching mirroring body language. Alright, so we've got protein, carbs, dairy, sugar. Here's how sugar works. See, sugar, actually let's talk about carbs first. Glycogen or glucose? Our body is a glycogen creating machine. And so if you look at the cell of the body turns carbs, any carbs you eat, into sugar. It turns it into glycogen. Okay, what happens then is the glycogen enters the cells and then it creates, after a 20-step process, it creates 2 units of energy. Then, there's a process called, then it goes down and there's another 8-step process that creates a further 26 units of energy? 36 units of energy. So 2 units of energy there, 36 units of energy. That comes from the glycogen, okay, which is converted, that's the carbs, does this. But also other foods like the vegetables and things we eat also creates glycogen. That's what your body does. Your body's a sugar creating machine. That's what it does. Because sugar is energy.
But is that good sugar you're
Absolutely.
talking about?
Well, this is any sugar. Any sugar will do this. And then what happens is your body has stores over here, little sacs like this, looks like grapes, inside the cell. And what happens is the glycogen is stored in these little sacs. So that then when you use the energy, these 2 units and the 36 units, it's replenished by these stores. Now what happens is your cell can only accept a certain amount of glycogen. It can only accept a small amount. The rest of it goes to other cells of the body. You know what cells they are? Fat cells. Because fat cells are unlimited. Fat cells can hold unlimited amounts of glycogen. And so any excess that your body's not using as far as energy will go here and be stored as fat. Unlimited in size, so they continue to go. So if you're eating carbs, then what's happening is you're doing this. Now if you eat processed sugars on top of this,
Right.
that will go straight to here.
Oh, yeah.
Sugar turns to insulin, insulin turns directly to fat. Any sugar, any processed sugar. So if you want to get abs, stay away from sugar. Completely. As much as possible. As much as possible. Make sense?
But fruit's fine.
What's that?
Fruit's good though.
Well, let's have a look at this. Fruit has lots of sugar in it. Fruit, sugar does this, any excess goes here. So fruit will fill these up, and then any excess will go and create fat. Fruit can create fat also. So if you eat 10, 12 bits of fruit a
If it's
day,
too much, yeah.
you're creating fat.
Yeah.
Okay? If you eat a little bit of sugar, the good thing about sugar is there's a lot of fibre in it, and so that helps your body to deal with the glycogen. Okay? The sugar that's in it, because it's natural also, it's better for you. But this stuff, the carbs, this is deadly. And processed sugar, that's the worst thing you can do. So if you're going to get six-pack abs, my suggestion is lower the carbs. Lower the carbs. Lower the protein, because any excess turns to acid. Excess carbs turns to acid. Excess dairy turns to acid. Sugar is acidic. Now acid is toxic. Just so you know, acid is toxic for the body. So these people that are eating these diets, if you eat a diet like this, then you're creating lots of acid in your system. I'm not against meat. I eat meat. I don't eat meat a lot. I'm striving to eat meat more sparingly. So yesterday I did full vegetarian for the whole day yesterday, and I'm going to start doing that every second day. I eat a little bit of fish. Occasionally, maybe once, twice a month, I'll eat some steak. Occasionally, once, twice a week, chicken. Because what happens is you've got acid here. Your stomach is at about 2. Very strong hydrochloric acid in your stomach. Steak is about here. Chicken is about here. Fish is about here. So of all the acid-producing meats, fish is the best. Okay, so if you want protein as a source of protein, it's very good. Yes?
Have you heard that a little bit, or to what extent do you believe that a lot of the fish is polluted now?
Fish, and that's what you've got to watch out for. Is mercury poisoning is one, and there's also pollution. So yeah, be careful.
You can't really know, can
You can't know. You can't know. So be careful with what you're doing with that. So
You can cleanse the chemicals and that out of your body as well, if you do eat something.
The truth is, you can't, how can anybody possibly eat completely pure, completely all the time? It's very difficult. It's very difficult. But do your best to make sure you know where it's coming from. Yep.
What do you think about alkalised water?
Alkalised water? Yeah, if you put a bit of lemon in water, that'll alkalise it. Alkalised water is very good for you. It's a good idea. It's what?
There's quite a lot of
Yes.
My
If it's alkalising the water, that's good for you. So what you want to do is to give your body a rest. You want to be on this side of the equation. So how do we get on this side of the equation? Oh, actually, one more here is exercise. Exercise, what do you create in your muscles?
Acid.
Lactic acid. So that's why, who's ever heard of those athletes that look fit and healthy and then they go for a run, keel over and die? Who's ever heard of that happen? You know why that happens? I'll explain. Here's why that happens, is they likely had a steak the night before, acid. They're likely dosed up on carbs, maybe in the morning, because they need energy for their big run, acid. Dairy, probably, maybe sugar, I don't know, maybe they have one of them energy drinks before they go for their run, like the Gatorade or whatever. Hit themselves with energy, that's full of sugar. It's processed sugar. And then they exercise like crazy and build up the lactic acid. Now what happens is when you exercise, and what I teach is actually interval training. When you do interval training, you train hard and fast, and then you stop and recover. So what I'll do is I'll do 30-second sprints. So a 30-second sprint, up a hill, and then I'll stop for a couple of minutes, for 2 minutes. So what that does is it elevates the heart rate. It causes your lung capacity to expand. Did you know that most people at the time they're 50 have lost 40% of their lung capacity? 40% of the time they're 50.
What's that?
Not using it. If you don't use it,
They don't breathe properly.
lose it. So if you don't breathe properly, don't breathe deeply, don't do diaphragmatic breathing. Singers know how to do it. People who've done karate know how to do it. Diaphragmatic breathing is essential. It's something we should be doing every day. I'll share it. Yeah.
Going back to the restaurant and eating, you can't even go to a restaurant and eat because they all use canola oil and everything.
Yes.
And they actually think it's good for you.
Yes. Does that mean you can't go out? It just means you've got to alkalise afterwards. So what I'll do is I'll still go and enjoy a steak, but I'll make sure that afterwards I alkalise. And I'll do alkalising in a sec. We'll talk about that, how to cleanse. Okay, so these things here, exercise, lactic acid, we're talking about the 30-second sprint. Now what happens is, let's say you've got the cell here, and you've got this lactic acid build-up in the cell. When you rest, between the interval training, what happens is your body wipes out this lactic acid.
Wow.
It actually wipes it out in
It's
that
actually
rest.
better for you than just keep on going.
Exactly right. So those people who exercise and do those long marathon runs, guess what? There's no time for your system to sweep out the lactic acid. And so the acid builds up. So if you've had excess protein, acid, excess carbs, you're living a dense acid lifestyle, then you go on a big run, acid, your body can reach a tipping point where the cells become toxic. When that happens, the system can shut down. That's why somebody would keel over and die. It's acid. It's actually acid. Make sense?
It makes a lot of sense. So it's weird that people don't get that.
Well, they should know this.
Yeah.
They should know this. And that's why I do interval training. It's actually the best form of training. For fat burning, for everything. Interval training is 30-second sprint up the hill, rest for 2 minutes, repeat it 4 times.
You need a big hill.
What's that?
You need a big hill.
Well, you can have, I've got one right at the front of my house. I often go barefoot up the road, sprint, flat out, because I'm trying to toughen my feet up, like when I was a child. And it's fun. It's good to feel the earth underneath. Yeah, you become grounded. So that's exercise. That's one part of exercise. Do that on the Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and Tuesday and Thursday, and Saturday. That's when I do a bit of body weight training and also ab workout. Okay, so what's the best way to do an ab workout? Anyone know?
Eat the right foods.
So diet's essential. Diet's essential. You've actually got to 1, be committed and have the right mindset. 2, eat the right diet, make sure that these things are limited, and make sure we get into the alkaline foods, which are, what are the alkaline foods?
Vegetables.
Green.
Okay, mostly green vegetables. If you can tip the scale with green vegetables, you're going to get more alkaline. So the deep green vegetables, kale, broccoli, spinach. What else is deep green?
Cabbage, cabbage is
Silver beet.
Avocado.
What else? Avocado. Avocado is very good for you. That's a lot of oils in it as well, but that's all good. So your deep green leafy vegetables are the most alkaline. Okay? Nuts, you've actually got almond nuts as well, which are alkaline. So you're eating your greens. That's why you're trying to eat greens. What's next? After the greens, here's what I do every day. Wheatgrass. I've been doing that for 2.5 years. Tony Robbins said, use wheatgrass. I have every day since. So wheatgrass is next. What else?
Water.
Seeds and different things. Yeah, it's very alkaline. You've got almond nuts, which are alkalizing. Let's look at, okay, water. How much water?
6 glasses a day.
2.5 litres a day is what's recommended.
And it must be water. It can't be tea or coffee or milk or it must be water.
Absolutely. So that's water. What else do we got? Oils. Your essential oils, omega-3, 6 and 9. Essential oils. Those things as well. Lubricate the system, keep it functioning well. What's that?
Essential oils for eating.
Yes, for intake, yes. Good. You can get that from the health food
I
shop.
know,
I
like
think
for
she misunderstood. I think she thought you meant the aromatherapy oils.
Oh, no, not the aroma oils. The oils to take them. Oral.
I drink cod liver oil. Most people couldn't stomach that.
Yeah.
But it covers those.
But I heard about a person who had quickie joints or whatever, and he got some WD-40 and sprayed his knees with it. I don't recommend that. There's harmful chemicals in that thing. It's probably going to do more bad than good. No, I'm not kidding. That's what he did, so he could try and walk better. Don't recommend that. That's not good. So this is alkaline. So the more we do these things, and you've also got your vegetables. And how do we combat the exercise lactic acid? Interval training. Okay, not the consistent training. Sometimes I do a little bit of consistent training, but I always put interval training as part of my overall workout. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you have a question?
Do you have specific ab exercises?
Yeah, absolutely. For abs or for
Abs.
anything? For abs. Okay. So in order to get good abs, what we need to do is we need to contract. Well, the first thing we need to do is lose weight. To reduce body fat, I should say. If you reduce body fat, that will help your abs to show up when they show up. It's no good doing ab exercises if you keep eating the same way, if you keep eating lots of carbs, keep eating lots of sugar, or drinking sugar if you have soft drinks. Okay, so I cut out soft drinks completely 2 years ago. I think I probably had a total of maybe 6 cans of soft drink in 2.5 years, which is not a lot. Maybe 8 cans. But that's it, 2.5. Everything else has been water. Just completely water or wheatgrass juice. That's it. So cutting out that, people find they actually can drop body fat just by cutting out soft drink alone. It's incredible. So that's the first part of it, is reduce the body fat. The second part of it is the exercises. Now, in order to get the ripple effect in the abs, in order to do that, what we've got to do is actually shorten the gap between the chest here, the bottom of the chest, and the pelvis. You've actually got to crunch this way. Now, what I don't recommend is crunches on the ground, especially if people grab themselves by the neck and start pulling. We've probably all heard that that's not good for you. So what I use a lot of is the V-sit position. There's 4 words. 4 words. So one is longevity. Another one is energy. You know what I didn't talk about tonight? ATP, adenosine triphosphate. If you get a chance, look that up. You talked tonight about energy right at the beginning. When you understand adenosine triphosphate and how that works, then you'll find out that when you do the interval training, you can actually increase the energy in your body and in your life. So when I started doing the alkalizing, And the energy, the interval sprinting, I started getting 2 hours extra out of my day. 2 hours. What could you do with 2 more hours? Think about it. Clean up your diet.
Less sleep.
Less sleep, yeah. So you get 2 hours extra. Fantastic. Really good.
Is interval training the one where you, like you run at low intensity and then high intensity and then low?
Just high intensity. Interval, put it back in.
Spin it the opposite way.
I do it myself all the
Yeah,
time.
opposite.
Yeah, spin it the opposite. If you want to reduce it, spin it the opposite way. In the seminar, I show you some really cool techniques. There's stuff for creating more joy, more excitement, more happiness, and it's all around those similar techniques. But yeah, if you're ever in a bad mood, you can spin yourself out of it.
I'm thinking when I spin it and the goal change, and then like what I should imagine when I put it back, like the transformation of the energy, or
the opposite.
What do you have to imagine when you put it back?
Yeah.
It's nothing, just imagine the ball. So, I mean, use your own mind.
Yeah.
However you imagine it best is the right way. There's no one answer. Everybody will imagine and see things a different way. Some people will see the red, some people just imagine it's red, or some people just get this idea that it's red. However you do it, that's fine. Some people are more visual, they can see images. Some people are auditory, and some people are kinesthetic, they just feel like it's red, or feel like it's yellow, or feel that there's a ball. You know, so everyone's different.
And then it changes colour and you just feel...
So just work with the way you imagine.
Yeah, because it's just like if I remove it, I feel like I remove it and then I'm taking it back.
Yeah, but if you spin it the opposite way, you're changing.
Yeah.
If you put it back, you're changing the energy.
Yeah.
We can do it the flip it to the moon one, to the sun. That's it. So, but if you spin it the other way, you're changing the trajectory, you're changing the motion of the energy. So once you put it back, there's a change that
Yeah, it's
happens.
positive. Yeah.
I'll explain how that works, but I could keep going for another 6 hours.
Let's go.
Is it an accident?
Is it?
The last question, is it a single?
Oh yeah, it's an accident. It's an accident. For example, using proprioception. So when I put my hand in my pocket and I can tell that there's keys in there, I'm using a thing called proprioception. Okay, to use my kinesthetic, my sense of touch, to work out what's in my pocket. So what you're doing with energy is you're using that. You're taking energy out and using your proprioception to put it somewhere, to move it, to modify it, then put it back. Your mind, your unconscious mind understands all this. We don't understand it, but the unconscious mind does. The unconscious mind recognises what you're doing. All you've got to do is understand the language of the unconscious mind in order to maneuver it the way you want. And that's what I'm talking about, getting those things in alignment. It's that understanding of how the unconscious mind works that allows you to take full control of your life. It's difficult to explain in one line. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Nice to have you here. Thank you. You guys all enjoy that?
Yeah.
Excellent.